I've just rewritten some of this from yesterday. I wanted to try and make it more pare it down a little bit, because I think I went a little bit over the top. So I'm going to read out what I wrote. It's still from the same part, but I'm going to add a little bit of music to this as I read it. There was something very tactile about the door as she let her fingers lightly run across the surface of the ancient timbers. She wondered what it all meant, and if it had any meaning. Then, just as she was about to turn and call on the others, she felt herself being drawn through the ether. It was not her physical being, but some other part of her consciousness that was instantly transported to a dark place that immediately felt cold, wicked, and unforgiving. At first, her vision was blurry, obscured by a thick fog or mist that gathered unnaturally on all sides. The tone had changed too, from the dark, benign interior of the tree to a threatening, bitter chill that seemed to seep from the mists all around her. She felt it creep into her bones. She was scared and alone, and there was no sign of the others. Where she was, Ellie couldn't say or begin to imagine. Only that she knew she wasn't meant to be there. It was a place where the eyes of the innocent should not be or look upon. But one thing the child could feel was the deathly silence and cold slipping slowly into her body. A stony, malignant chill of hatred and spite. Slowly her eyes fixed on a shape or shadow that appeared to come in and out of existence, on the edge, and only feet from where she was stood. It seemed to hover between forms, as if the thing she gazed upon struggled to take shape within the ether. It was like it was in two states of being, one of matter, and the other a spectre of something that looked unnatural and lonesome. An otherness that was at odds with all that was good slowly emerged from the gloom to Ellie's utter shock. She wanted to turn away at once and run, but to her horror she found that she could not move. She was bound by some terrible will. A demented haze of spite and hate, contained and imprisoned within the ether, slowly took shape. It moved within the ring of standing stones. Its eyes were cold and merciless, and it was clad in black like that of an unnatural night. On its head a helm of dark fire screamed. The evil, as she saw it, was desperate to free itself from whatever power contained its miserable being. A many-headed beast circled the ring of stones like a sentinel. It swam, wraith-like, through the choking dark air, howling and wailing in anguish. The screams seemed to cut her to the core, like the souls of the damned mocking her existence, writhing through her very being. Fell words, a foul tongue, to any but the most cruel, like nothing the child had ever heard or wanted to hear again, came from the serpent. She could feel its many pairs of eyes burning into her. With every ounce of will she could muster, Ellie raised her hands to cover her ears in order to block out the cries, the foul, demented cries that were so unnatural that it felt like every bone in her body would shatter into a trillion pieces. The ring, her father's gold ring that hung around her neck, glowed and glinted fiercely, piercing the shadows and cruel, foul voices. The beast stopped, as if seeing some unwanted presence. From glowing lidless eyes it moved slowly, like seaweed does caught in a current or swell beneath a gloomy sea. Fiery tongues tasted the murky air as it moved unnaturally. Then, to Ellie's horror, it turned its gaze on the child. For a brief moment she could feel her very being, her soul, turn to ice. She couldn't move her feet, she dared not move, but then the ring round her neck glowed like a new star, burning ever brighter in its malevolent presence. It peered directly into her eyes, and it felt like her soul was being gradually torn from her. Cold, an absolute icy chill was what flooded every vessel and artery in her body, replacing the warmth of the living blood. The Hydra, with cruel curiosity, slowly made its way towards her, curious and guarded. Ellie closed her eyes and wished to be back with her friends, anywhere but here, in this void of death. Without realizing, her hands were now cupped round the gold ring, and she was repeating the words, "Take me back, take me back." Warmth gradually began to seep into her body as a light from the ring burst through her fingers, and the beast recoiled, cast back into the oblivion.